David Birdsong asked, Dave, Jesse Lee Herndon mentioned a while back that he thought both Siren and Suentius Poe were both hermaphrodites. And I didn't think so, because Siren's interest in Cerberus was quite obsessive until she found out about the kitchen knife incident. At that point, she appeared to keep him under surveillance, but did not bother to even kill him. If Suentius Poe were also an hermaphrodite, wouldn't she have had the same level of interest in him? Yeah, I would say so. I didn't really resolve those, because I do have a kind of sexuality firewall with my characters. Of the idea was, if Cerberus was a hermaphrodite and hadn't had his female plumbing disabled in the kitchen knife incident, he would have been able to impregnate himself. And what would have happened there? Because if he's impregnating himself, presumably he wouldn't have a human child. He would have an aardvark child, which is what was of interest to Siren as an aardvark and as matriarch. Whether Siren was a hermaphrodite or whether Siren was female, and whether Suentius Poe was a hermaphrodite or Suentius Poe was exclusively male, you get two different constructions on the entire 6,000-page storyline out of that. And like I say, as an author, I wouldn't intrude into that situation of saying definitively this is it, because I don't want to be sticking my head into my character's underwear, which I think would be maybe the overall contribution that I make to human society. Can we keep our heads out of each other's underwear? I think we will be better and richer and more spiritually adept people if we can do that. David Copperman says, I got one. Is there anything that Dave regarded as a creative sacrifice when he went from the issue-by-issue mindset to the serialized novel format? I'd say the shift starts to happen in the middle of high society, but really starts to kick in during the Church and State 2, and then becomes complete with Jocka's story. Like, it's clear that the long-form approach gave him access to some major benefits from a narrative, visual, and formal perspective, but opening a window shuts the door, as it were. So some things that were part of the more discrete issues approach were lost. The individual issue titles, for one, a thing that Dave had a real gift for, and thank you for the compliment. So again, was there anything he regarded as a deficit to making comics in that shift? No, not really, because opening a window shuts the door pretty much sums it up. I'm just doing the note for Cerberus Archive number 9, hoping to work ahead on that and have Cerberus Archive number 9 come out far, far closer to number 8 than number 8 did number 7. And I definitely noticed that because page 20 of issue 176 is one of the pages. So it's very, very noticeable reading issue 176 that page 20 of issue 176 is definitely a mind-messing cliffhanger for people who have been following this all along, where Suentius Poe suddenly seems to step out of character and get really, really steamed. And recognizable as page 20 of issue 176 than it is as page whatever it is of Reed. So that's one of those. Yeah, I definitely had to trade off in those situations. Going, yes, I like having chapter titles, and it is a big plus in Church and State that each 20-page issue was the start of an individual chapter. But then you're trading off there where you're going, well, wait a minute, every chapter is 20 pages long? When was the last time that you read a novel where each chapter was 20 pages long? So instead of finding a halfway point in there where, okay, I'll start the chapter here, and then when the chapter's over, I'll do another title for the next chapter. And if that happens to be the beginning of this issue, that's fine. If it happens to be page 5, that's fine. I opted instead for, I think it's time for me to do a graphic novel as I conceive of that, as opposed to what people were calling graphic novels. The reason that the Cerebus graphic novels are called phone books and a bunch of skinny little fat comic books are called graphic novels, we're still not away from that because there are still so few novel-sized graphic novels. But definitely by the time I was doing Mothers and Daughters, it was, no, if I'm doing the chapter title, that's already skewing in the direction of these just being fat comic books, and I want these to be graphic novels. So, and not doing titles on them. That was also, it seems more of an early novel approach to have chapter titles for the chapters in a novel. Most novels are just a number that tells you that this is chapter 21 or whatever it is. And that's done strictly as very, very emphatic punctuation. This is a major break. We have stopped talking about what we were talking about in the last chapter, and we're talking about what we're talking about in this chapter. And Church and State is the earlier form of novel, and Mothers and Daughters is the latter form of novel. So,
and then, of course, right after Mothers and Daughters is Guys, where in the individual installments you got to the point where it's, here's the cover, here's the inside cover, and we're, no note from the present, just, we're here.
Right.
I mean, that,
You're already in the comic book as soon as you read the cover.
Yeah, I mean, and thinking back, I'm like, that actually, now that I think about it, that was pretty brilliant.
Well, it's brilliant if people like it. It's annoying if they don't like it.
There was Vertigo did something one month. They did it was kind of a gimmicky thing where the cover was the first page of the issue. And so for all the Vertigo titles, whatever month this was, and I only know because I was buying Astro City, and normally it's a Alex Ross painted cover. And this particular issue, it's a Alex Ross painted cover, but the cover's 4 panels. And it was, you're looking at it, it doesn't look right because it doesn't look like a normal issue of Astro City. And then you get to the back where they explain what's going on, and I'm like, well, that was pretty cool.
Right. As long as your reaction is, that's pretty cool, that's fine. But anytime you mess around with the structure of people's entertainment, there are people where it's don't mess with my cover. The cover is important to me as a cover. I have to get my comic book, and particularly Cerebus, where the pattern response at that point was up above 200 issues of, there's a cover, on the inside front cover, Dave talks to you, and then you start reading the comic book. You're really taking think is cool, that's what we're going to do. If you don't think it's cool,